Buffett, dubbed the Oracle of Omaha for his financial ability, has built a personal fortune worth more than $100 billion, according to Forbes One. He inspires legions of devoted followers to travel to Omaha each year to hear him speak at Berkshire's annual meeting, called the Woodstock of Capitalism. The childhood years. Buffett was born on August 30, 1930, in Omaha, Nebraska, to Howard and Layla Buffett. He was the only male and the second of 3 children. His father was a stockbroker and a 4-term member of the United States Congress. Howard served 2 non-consecutive terms on the Republican ticket but espoused libertarian views. Buffett had an early interest in making money, since he peddled soft drinks and had a paper route. He invested the proceeds from these ventures when he was 14 years old on 40 acres of property, which he then rented for a profit. He applied to the University of Pennsylvania at his father's encouragement and was accepted. Buffett left after 2 years, transferring to the University of Nebraska, unimpressed. After graduation, his father persuaded him of the importance of education once more, encouraging him to pursue a doctorate degree. Buffett was rejected by Harvard but accepted by Columbia. Buffett studied under Benjamin Graham, the pioneer of value investing, and his experience at Columbia laid the groundwork for a long and illustrious career, although one that began slowly. Graham declined to hire Buffett after graduation, even urging that he forego a career on Wall Street. Buffett's father agreed with Graham, and Buffett returned to work at his father's brokerage firm in Omaha. He married Susan Thompson and began a family. A short time later, Graham changed his mind and offered Buffett a job in New York. The Value Foundation. Buffett had the opportunity in New York to expand on the investment theories he had heard from Graham at Columbia. According to Graham, value investing entailed looking for companies that were selling at a significant discount to the value of the underlying assets, which he referred to as intrinsic value. Buffett had internalized the concept, but was interested in expanding on it a step further. Unlike Graham, he wanted to look beyond the numbers and focus on the company's management team and its product's competitive advantage in the marketplace. In 1956, he returned to Omaha and established Buffett Associates, Limited, as well as purchasing a home. When he joined forces with Charlie Munger in 1962, he was 30 years old and already a millionaire. Their partnership eventually led in the creation of an investment philosophy based on Buffett's concept of value investing as more than just wringing the last few bucks out of dying enterprises. They acquired Berkshire Hathaway, NYSE BRK.A, a dying textile mill, along the way. When the business began to show signs of life, what began as a classic Graham value play evolved into a longer-term investment. The cash flow generated by the textile firm was utilized to fund further initiatives. The original business was eventually overshadowed by the other interests. In 1985, Buffett shut down the textile business, but continued to use the name. Buffett's investment theory evolved into one based on the notion of purchasing stock in firms that he believes are well-managed and undervalued. When he purchases securities, he intends to keep them indefinitely. Coca-Cola, American Express, and the Gillette Company all fit his criteria and have since remained in Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio. In many cases, he bought the company outright, leaving the day-to-day operations to the management teams. See's Candies, Fruit of the Loom, Dairy Queen, The Pampered Chef, and Jayco Auto Insurance are some of the more well-known companies in this area. Until technology stocks became fashionable, Buffett's mystique remained intact. Buffett, a vehement technophobe, sat out the spectacular run-up in technology companies in the late 1990s. Buffett attracted the disdain of Wall Street gurus and was cast off by many as a man whose time had gone by sticking to his guns and refusing to invest in firms that did not fit his mission. Many of those specialists were bankrupted as a result of the tech crash that occurred when the dot-com bubble broke. Buffett's profits more than doubled. On a personal level, Warren Buffett is a legendarily thrifty man, despite having a net wealth in the billions. He still lives in the 5-bedroom house he bought in 1958 for $31,000, drinks Coca-Cola, and dines at local eateries, where he prefers burgers or steaks. He had resisted the idea of acquiring a company jet for many years. When he finally got one, he christened it the Indefensible, a public acknowledgement of his criticism of money spent on aircraft. He married Susan Thompson in 1952, and they were married for more than 50 years. Susie, Howard, and Peter were their 3 children. Buffett and Susan divorced in 1977, but remained married until Susan's death in 2004. Susan introduced him to Astrid Manx, a model, before her death. A waitress. Buffett and Manx began living together in 1978 and were married in August of 2006. Legacy. When you're the world's most successful investor, what do you do with your money? You give it away if you're Warren Buffett. In June 2006, Buffett startled the world by announcing the contribution of the great bulk of his fortune to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which focuses on global health challenges, U.S. libraries, and global schools. It is one of the world's most visible charities. Buffett's contributions will take the form of Class B Berkshire Hathaway stock. He has donated a total of 10 million shares to the Gates Foundation. It will be distributed in 5% increments until Buffett's death, or until a foundation fails to achieve the expenditure requirement or the requirement that either Bill or Melinda Gates stay actively involved in the foundation's activities. Buffett donated 500,000 shares worth around $1.5 billion in 2006. The whole donation to the Gates Foundation is valued around $37 billion based on a June 2008 share valuation. Buffett anticipates that stock price appreciation will climb by that amount over time. Another stock donation of about 1 million shares will be distributed equally among 3 nonprofits run by Buffett's children. An additional 1 million shares will be donated to a foundation established in memory of his first wife. While the donation to the Gates Foundation was unexpected, Buffett's charity activities are nothing new. He'd been donating money for 40 years through the Buffett Foundation, which had been renamed the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation. This charity advocates for pro-choice family planning and strives to prevent nuclear proliferation. Buffett has always intended to donate the majority of his fortune to charity, but has insisted on doing so after his death. Buffett's change of heart is classic Buffett: reasonable, resolute, maverick, and forging his own path. "I know what I want to do, and it makes sense to get started," he is well known for stating. In conclusion, the amount of money that Buffett will continue to give appears to be increasing in the future. "I am not an advocate of dynastic riches," he says, especially when the alternative is 6 billion people having that much poorer hands in life than we do, with a chance to gain from the money.